welcome to Crime and Court. My name is Heather, and we are going to go through the latest filing in the Idaho 4 Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger case, and that is this document right here, which is the notice of the defendant's supplemental response to the state's alibi demand. So the state has demanded now that he submit his alibi, and this is his response. And this was filed the 17th at 4:41 p.m. So this was just released yesterday afternoon. This is early morning, the 18th. I am recording this, and I'm going to shoot this out to you guys today. So you're getting this pretty soon after released. All right, so the notice of the defendant's supplemental response to the state's alibi demand comes now. Before we begin, please hit that like button. Please share, subscribe, comment, do all the YouTube-y things. Please, I really appreciate it. I also appreciate it if all you do is just view my video. So thank you for being here. All right, so comes now Bryan C. Kohberger, through his attorney of record, Ann C. Taylor, public defender, and hereby files a supplemental response to the demand for alibi, and in compliance with Idaho Code 19519 and Idaho Criminal Rule 12.1. Mr. Kohberger moved to Pullman, Washington in June of 2022. As an avid runner and hiker, he explored many areas of the Palouse, I think that's a river or area around there. Of note, he explored Wawawai Park. Wawawai? Sure. Okay, we'll go with that. Park in July of 2022, and this became a favorite location. After the school year began, Mr. Kohberger was busy with classes and work at Washington State University, and his running and hiking decreased but did not stop. Instead, his nighttime drives increased. This is supported by data from Mr. Kohberger's phone showing him in the countryside late at night and or in the early morning on several occasions. So Ann's like, oh, wait, hold up. We have proof that Kohberger did these drives at night, and we have the location data from his phones. So you guys can all stop saying that we're just making up the excuse that he just was driving that night. The phone data includes numerous photographs taken on several different late evenings and early mornings, including in November, depicting the night sky. So he's got proof, receipts, that is what he did in the early morning hours, because it was just a habit of his. So Mr. Kohberger was out driving in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, as he often did, to hike and run and or see the moon and stars. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, Idaho, including Wawawai Park. Wawawa. I don't know. This is a fun one to say. All right, partial corroboration. Mr. Kohberger intends to offer testimony of Cy Ray, CSLI expert. He's a cell tower, cell phone, and radio frequency expert. Other radio frequency curricula vitae is attached, so his resume, to show that Bryan Kohberger's mobile device was south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow, Idaho on November 13th, 2022, that Bryan Kohberger's mobile device did not travel east on the Moscow-Pullman highway in the early morning hours on November 13th, and thus could not be the vehicle captured on video along the Moscow-Pullman highway near Floyd's cannabis shop. So the vehicle in the video that was captured along the highway near some cannabis shop apparently captured a white Elantra, and are claiming that it's to be Bryan's, but she's saying he's nowhere near that area. Additional information as to Mr. Koberger's whereabouts as the early morning hours progressed, including additional analysis by Mr. Ray, will be provided once the state provides discovery requested. What is she on, her 15th, 16th supplemental, or supplemental request to turn over discovery? She's had to ask the state over 15 times to get the discovery, to give her the discovery that they have that proves Brian is the one, apparently. And they still have yet to do that. Still, at this date, have yet to turn over discovery that she has been asking for months. Months and months and months. So anyways, let's continue on with the document. So additional information as to Mr. Koberger's whereabouts as the early morning hours progressed, including additional analysis by Mr. Ray, will be provided once the state provides discovery requested, and now subject to an upcoming motion to compel. So she has submitted many motions to compel. Still haven't received it. If not disclosed, Mr. Ray's testimony will also reveal that critical exculpatory evidence further corroborating Mr. Koberger's alibi was either not preserved or has been withheld. Oh, all right. So she just said, so we're going to bring him on, and if you don't give us the rest of the discovery, we're going to bring him on and say you're withholding or not preserving this discovery for a reason, and there's a reason why you're not giving it to us, and we think you are hiding exculpatory evidence, and we're going to prove it with our witness. So I think that's great. I think that's awesome. Please do try to prove it to them if you've got some alibi. But see, the thing is, like, that all the things that she just wrote about, those would be things that they would be argued within a jury trial. So you would bring on your expert, and the state would the state obviously would go first and bring their expert on as to why, their cell phone expert saying this is what Brian's phone shows us, and that's why we thought he had something to do with this crime. Whereas but now you just blew Anne's cover on who her expert's going to be. Maybe she didn't want to bring that forth yet, and because they demanded that she give an alibi, and she is right. Like, the things that were in her filing, it would be argued in trial. So it's just odd that they made her come out and say those things, I think. But here, what is all this? This is Cy Ray, her expert. This is his curriculum vitae. So he has a DBA, Socialite Crime Club. What's a DBA? DBA, Burning Mountain Productions. DBA. What does DBA stand for? DBA. Meaning. Doing business as Socialite Crime Club. So that's, sorry, I knew that too, but my brain is early morning. My brain's not working, as if it ever does. All these other places is where he worked. I don't want to totally dox all these places, but it isn't a public filing. All right, so applicable experience of Mr. Ray. He has 20 years of law enforcement experience. Well, that's good. 5 years patrol operations, 13 years of criminal investigations, 7 in violent crime. And I'm not going to read all that because they're probably trigger words to YouTube. 3 years as a detective sergeant, 2 years as criminal apprehension, 1 year in undercover operations in Afghanistan. 8 years SWAT tactical experience, 7 years instructor operator of law enforcement training company. All right, so he not only was he a law enforcement officer, but now he trains law enforcement. So that's pretty cool. All right, so 10 years of expert witness case consultant experience with that company's Is that X? He's testified over 100 times, state and federal courts. All casework prior to 11/2023 was a prosecution case. Oh, that's interesting. So now he's working for the defense. He swapped sides. He must believe in what he's saying there, because he usually only works with the prosecution. All right, so he is also an advised peer reviewer on or he has advised and peer reviewed over 2,000 criminal investigations, U.S. federal investigations, state and local law enforcement cases, and international cases. Interesting. All right, so experience over 1,000 death investigations, including all those things I'm not going to say because it'll trigger YouTube. Complex case designation. So not just any, it's not that. So not just any investigations in homicide, but complex cases. It's interesting. Investigations of officer use of force and suspect use of force against officers. That's a big one. All right, so he also, all these other things that I'm sure will not be taken well by YouTube and their algorithm. So I'll let you read that, what's on the screen. The over 1,000 cases involving ASA, all sorts of things, arson, corruption of funds investigations, corruption of law enforcement, maybe when there's potentially, a bad investigation and it seems like they're just trying to pin it on some guy in Idaho who is an outsider from Pennsylvania. I don't know. It's just a theory. So supervision of investigations unit. These are other things that he has done. I'm not going to read through everything, but he does have special training and he has a lot of experience in many different areas. So that is her expert. This curriculum vitae goes on for a while. I'll just keep scrolling while I'm talking. You guys can read it if you want. So yeah, so she definitely, and maybe it was her strategy not to show her cards yet of who her expert was, and I think that is probably smart, especially if she has all this forensic expert. Here's all the cases that he's testified in. Especially if he has all this expert testimony that is going to corroborate that Brian does go for runs. He has gone for long drives, and it's not an uncommon thing for him to do. And November 13th was just another night for him. That's what his expert is probably going to say. So now that Anne has outed that, I don't know if that gives her, she loses that, ball in her court, but maybe not, because the state still has to prove that he was there, and so it's going to be a battle between experts as usual, and it depends on who the jury finds more reliable, whose testimony they believed more. So hopefully this guy's got the goods, like his resume says, and then and that Brian's phone has the corroborating evidence that will prove that he was out driving, if that's the case. Or if not, if it did prove that he was there. So if Anne's got this expert, and if he did an extract of all of Brian's data, and he himself said, well, Brian was there, she's not going to put that forward, obviously. So I have some stock in what, I think it has some stock, this guy, in this theory that he was driving, and that is a valid alibi, whether people believe that's an alibi or not. What you were doing at the time of is an alibi. Whether other people can corroborate it or not, that's just a different story. My alibi could be I sat at home all night. No one saw me. No one entered. No one I didn't talk to anybody. But now you can't corroborate that unless like my phone was there and I had some kind of, something that my phone pinged in the area. But even that doesn't necessarily prove that I was home. It just proves my phone was home. So that, see, it's just battle of the experts, and it's gonna be a wild ride to watch this one play out, I think. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care.
If you've been impacted by a true crime and would like your story told in your own words, or if you or someone you know has been wrongfully convicted or accused of a crime, please write to crimeincourtchannel@gmail.com and tell us your real true crime encounters. Thanks for watching.